There you go.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is the April 8th, 2021 meeting of the East Long Meadow CPC. In attendance is myself, John Torsha, Francis Cognati, Brian Davis, and Riff Cooley. We should be expecting some other individuals. Mr. Mack, I think the phone number might be Tony, and also Tony Zampaccini.
John, Mary's here.
Mary's here, okay.
You want her in or?
Sure. And I think Lynn is also
Yep.
here as well. We'll pull her in as well. Okay, so before we start, is anybody in the audience recording the meeting? If so, just raise your hand or indicate as such. Hearing none, we will move on to the meeting minutes. So Allison has been very busy getting these minutes done and sent out to everyone, drafts of them. I'm very appreciative of the work that she's done with that. There was a bit of a backup with them. So we should be pretty much fully caught up at this point. She was unable to attend this evening, but she'll be seeing the recording of our meeting and get the minutes from this meeting, and then we could get them for the next meeting. So going into the meetings, we'll go back a month from now, the March 4th, 2021 meetings. These should have been sent out to everybody. Is there any discussion on it, any revisions that anybody would like to add? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the March 4th, 2021 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. And any more discussion? Hearing none, I will start the roll call. So I will go along my screen here. It's a little confusing. Francis?
Aye.
Brian?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
And Tom. I know you just got on, but we are approving the March 4th, 2021 meeting minutes, the last minutes.
Is he part of the committee still? I don't think he was anymore.
To my knowledge, he still is.
Okay.
That would be news to me. So, Tom, I don't know if you had the chance to look at those minutes or not. Okay, so we'll get back to that after. So I am a yes as well, so that passes unanimously. Okay, so we'll go back a few previous months back to the December 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes. So those were also included in an email that I sent a few days back. Are there any revisions to those meetings? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the December 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will do roll call again. Francis?
Abstain. I was not present.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
And Tom?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. Okay, so we'll keep going down the list. So October 1st, 2020 meeting minutes. Are there any revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, motion's been made and a second.
Second.
Okay. All right, so motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will do a roll call again. Francis?
Recuse, again, I was absent.
Absent, that's right, okay. Brian?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
And Tom, I'm not sure if you were on the board at that point in time, but I think so. So,
That was when the playground was done, right?
yes.
So yes.
Okay. And I am a yes as well. Okay, so that passes unanimously as well. Okay, so we are getting on to the final minutes. I promise we'll move on to some more interesting topics after this. So the September 2nd meeting minutes, are there any revisions that need to be made to those minutes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the September 2nd, 2020 minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
Tony,
Second.
you want to second that motion? All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll move to roll call. Francis, I know this, you probably,
I wasn't present for any of those meetings. I shouldn't have said I was absent. I was not a member of the committee at that time.
that's right. So, okay, Brian,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
and Tom. I think the October 1st meeting was your first meeting, so that would also mean you weren't on the board at that point in time. So I am a yes as well. So it passes unanimously. All right, so that gets us into old business. So I had the opportunity to sit down with the town accountant recently, and he provided me with an update to the bonds that are outstanding. I have the paperwork right here. So he gave me a paper copy of it. What I'm going to do is I will type it out, and I can send a digital copy to everybody. I just didn't get the opportunity to do that, but I can read off of it to you all and to the public. So the Pine Knoll pool renovation, which was issued June 29th, 2016, that the bond will go until 2028. So technically the bond for that has not technically been paid yet, but will be. He was explaining it to me, sort of just kind of accounting language on that. And then the land acquisition, this is for Brown Field, was issued October 13th, 2011, and that bond will go until 2030. So there is approximately $318,000 outstanding still, $3,018,400 outstanding on the pool renovation, and then $416,680 on the land acquisition. So I will update that, put that up online so you guys can take a look at that in full. But that is pretty much where we're at. And as each year goes by, it'll the amount of interest and the amount of the principal declines. So that'll be with us for the next couple of years, but by the end of this decade, it'll be fully paid off on both of those. So does anybody have any questions on that? Hearing none. I'll keep going along here. Just an update on some previous applications. The town council, I believe it was, early March. I'm blanking on the date right now, but the town council unanimously approved the Bark Park, the first phase application, as well as the Norcross House, the porch renovation. They approved both those applications. There are 3 that we have approved that are still outstanding. The Norcross Carriage House application, the Pine Knoll Playground, and the track resurfacing project. So I spoke to the town clerk not too long ago. She has all that information to give to the council now. So pretty much I'm hoping that should be fairly soon. There will probably be an agenda coming out in short order. So I will keep you all up to date and keep the applicants up to date on, once I know that they will definitively be perhaps on the next meeting, I will send that information over. to all of you. So the checks, the money should be either already have been sent out or is in the process of being sent out. So those will go forward, and then all we'll have to do is I will just have to pull together just a report for once both the carriage, not the carriage, the porch renovation has already been completed, but once the sidewalk gets completed, I'll basically make a note of that for our record purposes. All right, so moving on to new business. So the Community Preservation Coalition membership renewal. So let me just pull up, there was a, actually I'm going off of an email here. So I got an email fairly recently from Chase Mack. He's he works with Stuart Saganar at the Community Preservation Coalition. So the Community Preservation Coalition has been basically what we, oh, Lynn, you have a question. I'm sorry. I just saw your message.
Sorry, I didn't see a little like raise my hand or anything, but I just had a question on, you mentioned what the town has just approved and what the town hasn't approved. But do we have a list of projects that have been approved but are waiting for them to be done? Yeah, for payment to be made, for them to be finished projects?
Did anybody hear any of that?
I heard a little bit of it. I believe, Lynn, what you said was
So,
that,
Don, I'm sorry. Lynn, if you can hear me, it's Don.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to really lean as close as possible to your computer. The closer you get, the somewhat more comprehensible it is. Because otherwise, it's impossible to understand even what you're asking.
All right, is this any better?
slightly.
I can't understand a word she's saying.
This is bad.
Maybe Lynn, I heard part of your question. Maybe if you can perhaps type it into the group chat, the chat feature that's to the right of the screen. I believe what you said was if there are any outstanding projects that haven't been paid yet but have been approved by CPC.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was correct. So the question was, are there any outstanding projects? So I can definitely look into that. I haven't heard of any. Just the two that the council approved, and then the three that have been recommended by the CPC but are still waiting to be brought forward to the town council. And then just this from Tom. Yes, so part of the coalition membership that we get technical assistance. So one of those things was the presentation that Stuart gave to us, and he brought up different things that we are able to have, snack shacks, restrooms are CPC eligible, as was stated. So I'm hoping, if we renew the membership, which is for $1,750, which has been something the committee, as I've been told, traditionally has approved in the past. They have been very helpful in providing technical assistance to me. They're also an advocacy group for legislation that is in regards to CPC, but it would just require a approval from us. It would, to my knowledge, it does not need to go to the town council, but I can certainly double check that. But from everybody that I've been told has said that would not be necessary. Yes, so Lynn, so to my knowledge, all past projects have been completed, and in terms of paid for, the only ones remaining are the ones that have bonds currently out. So those ones have not, the bonds haven't been fully paid yet. But there are no projects, to my knowledge, that have not been paid. But I will double check that and see, because potentially there might have been something way back when, before any of us were on the board, or certainly before I was on the board, that we may not have caught. So I want to bring this to the board now. So yeah, so we have this this membership. This is kind of the time of year that we would renew it. I believe it's on an annual basis or every few years. So it's for $1,750. So does anybody have any questions on this renewal?
So I so moved we should have this. I recommend that we do fund for the consultation work.
All right, motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on this issue? Hearing none, I will move.
Yes,
What?
just so it's clear that we are paying for our membership in the CPC coalition with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe to offer just as an amendment to that motion, just the actual amount of money. So that would be $1,750 to be exact. Tom?
Yeah. So 1,750, you said?
Yes.
John? Right. I make a motion that we approve to participate for 1,750 for the Community Preservation Coalition for the year. Is it year 2021 or
I believe
fiscal
it's
year,
fiscal year 2021.
which already started in July of this
Or
past year?
I'm sorry, it might be fiscal year 2022.
Okay.
So we'll just,
Yeah, because we do a rolling 12 based on July 1st.
yeah, we'll keep it. We'll do that. We'll have the motion stand as that. Okay, so we will, so if there's not any further discussion on that, I'll move to,
Yes, one more thing, sorry. Could you get back to us on how long this membership lasts?
yes, yeah, that was a question that I had not asked Chase when I was exchanging emails with him. So once, we approve this, I'll get a clearer idea of when the actual length of the membership is. But I'm pretty sure it's a annual basis.
It's yearly, Jonathan.
It's
It is.
yearly? Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move into roll call voting then. So I'll start first on my screen here, Francis.
Yes,
Brian?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
And Tom?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. So that passed unanimously. So I will figure out when that the fiscal year, I believe it would be then, I think, for 2022. So my other hope is I reached out to Stuart earlier this week, and he had mentioned the last time he was here that he has a presentation on bonding. I think that would be extremely helpful, especially if CPC ends up seeing maybe larger projects come in the future. I know there's been discussions and rumblings about different major projects that might be happening in the community that could be assisted by CPC perhaps. So I think that would be very educational for us all. I know it would certainly be educational for me. So I'm aiming maybe to have him come back for our first meeting there in May or the first meeting in June before maybe we go on kind of like a summer hiatus. Okay, so with that out of the way, we will move on to the April 1st application submittals. So I received the application for the pickleball nets first. So by that order, we'll start with the pickleball net application. So this should have been sent to everybody digitally. In addition, either mailed or it should be coming in the mail. I got it. Also, the other application for the Park was sent in the mail last week. So that everybody should have gotten that. If there are any issues with getting it, or if somebody didn't end up getting one of these, or if it comes in, if it doesn't come in tomorrow or the next day, let me know, because I will make sure that you all have paper copies or the digital copies if need be.
Jonathan, I'm wondering if you could share your screen with us, because I didn't receive electronic or paper copies of the pickleball application.
Yes, I can definitely do that. Let me just pull it up right now. I'm just going to put it in just a way so that I can take a look. Okay, so I have it, so I'm just going to zoom in. So it's just, and then I'm going to share the screen. Yes, it was submitted to the town manager's office. They did. I know Mary received it or was part of the email, and then I sent it to Deborah, who works in the town manager's office, to make copies of it as well. So both. And then for the Bark Park application, there were 9 paper copies that were dropped off at the town hall about a week ago, give or take. So the town manager received both of those prior to the deadline, either paper copies or via virtual email. So I will share my screen right now so everyone can, okay, let's see here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to, all right, so if we can invite the,
So is that Kathy Hood?
Dave Mackin,
Okay.
Matthew Flanagan was on the application.
Okay.
Let me,
Kathy Hood, Matt Flanagan, and Tom Byrne.
yes. Yeah, Dave Mackin, Matt Flanagan, and Tom Byrne were on the application here.
I don't see Tom in the attendees, but Matt and Dave are both in.
Okay, great. Okay, so is everybody, I can't, unfortunately, just by sharing it, I can't see everybody, but are you guys here?
Yeah, Jonathan, this is David Mack, and I'm here.
Okay, hey Dave. All right, so I have the application up. I can scroll to any, there's a few pages here. I can scroll to any page or kind of do a, kind of just keep scrolling down. So Dave, just give maybe, or one of you or all of you, kind of just a little rundown of what the application is, what you guys are asking for. And then kind of for some of us that don't maybe know pickleball all too well, just sort of what the sport is.
Yeah, maybe we'll start there, Jonathan. Pickleball is a sport similar to tennis. You know, it's played on a court similar to a tennis court. It's just a lot smaller. It's played with a racket and a ball. The ball is it's kind of more or less like a wiffle ball, and the racket is more like a plastic racket. It is the fastest growing sport today. So there's a lot of people playing right now. We've been playing in town for a couple years now, started playing more and more as COVID hit. We felt like we could be outside and we could wear masks and we could be really safe. We've been playing at the high school on a modified tennis courts. As we go to the tennis courts now to play, this one court that was created for us by the school department, there's just more and more interest to play. And so we've worked with the recreation department, the town manager, the DPW, and the school department to really talk about doing more courts at the high school. So we're requesting funds to be able to buy nets. The DPW is going to line the courts for us because the lines are a little bit different than a tennis court. We've worked with the recreation department to create additional opportunities for more people in the community to play. We're going to be holding clinics once this is done. It's a great sport. It's played a lot by seniors in town and seniors across the country because it's a smaller court and it's easier for them to move around on. Matt or Kathy or anyone else, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I'll just jump in, Dave. I would agree. It's gotten very, very popular. When we first started playing a couple of years ago, we were the only people out there playing, and it's more and more people are playing on the court. The good thing about it is, you can take one tennis court and make 2 pickleball courts, so you can have up to 8 people. That's what our intent is the athletic director has said that the back, there's 6 courts at the high school. The back 3 courts he would allow for pickleball as well as tennis to be combination. We are using 1 court now. It's a modified court, like Dave is saying. And so what we're looking to do is just get 4 nets so we can get the other 2 courts lined for 4 pickleball courts. And we are seeing more and more. Kathy Hood, when Dave and I first started talking about trying to get these courts expanded, Kathy Hood's name came up and we spoke with Kathy. She said she played all winter with some of her retiree friends. And so, it got more and more. We're also seeing, and Dave can attest to this, there was a tournament that was just held down in Enfield. It was open for anybody who wanted to play, and it was played at the indoor courts. And the 2 people who won were actually a couple kids from the high school. One of them was the number 1 tennis player. So it's young, middle age and beyond, I guess you could say. The courts are about $350 a piece, roughly. I mean, you can see on the screen, like Jonathan just put up there, $330. So when we wrote the grant, we just figured with shipping and things like that, just rounded to about $350 per net. And that's a decent quality net. And like Dave said, the DPW has agreed that they would paint the lines for us, which is really a big savings because we checked out some prices on that, and that was going to be about $2,000 to get the lines done. So we're certainly very appreciative to them, and they've been great about meeting with us and talking about getting it done. They couldn't have been better as far as working with them. The folks we deal with over there are really good.
Okay. I'm not sure, Kathy, if you want, I know you kind of got bumped in a few minutes after they did. Did you want to say anything, or not to put you on the spot, but?
No. Can you hear me? Because I'm not quite sure.
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt and I have had several discussions. I'm newly retired, and believe me, pickleball in East Meadow has busted loose. I learned how to play about a year ago in Florida by chance, and now there's 8 retired teachers. We've played all winter on the tennis courts in East Meadow. The DPW was nice enough to leave 1 net, the 1 net that Matt referred to on the court that's pickleball sprayed. I literally brought my 1-stage snowblower over there when it snowed. We played in 30-degree weather, winds. It was a lifesaver during this COVID, and it is blooming in this town. And there's more and more people that are playing. So any way that you can help us expand it, ideally down the road would be we need pickleball courts specifically because they shouldn't be played on a modified tennis court. But anything that you can do to help us just build this, our pickleball community, we appreciate anything that you can give us.
Thank you. I will bring this kind of to the board. Does the board have any questions to the applicants? I'm not sure. Hopefully everyone was able to I wanted to go through the application on the shared screen, and then I took it off just because it's kind of hard to run things and then have the shared screen. But does anybody have any questions? Tom, your hand is raised.
Yep, I'd like to make a motion to approve this as a project for $1,400. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
$1,400 for nets for the pickleball court.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Though I do just want to, I usually like to have applications kind of go through a two-step process. But if everybody is comfortable voting on it this evening, we can move forward. But I know, Francis, you had issue getting the application. So if is everybody comfortable voting on this evening?
Yeah, I am.
Sure.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'm okay now that they've explained it, and I saw a little bit of the application, so I get it.
And I can definitely
I have my application.
send a copy of it, Francis, to you digitally and make sure that gets through,
Thank you.
so that you can peruse it at your leisure. Tom, I see your hand is raised. Did you have anything else to say before we start voting, or?
Nope, that was left over from before.
Oh, okay. All right. Just want to make sure. All right. So just to double check, is there anything?
Yeah. John, can I make one suggestion?
Sure.
I think that motion has to designate the fund from which you want to pay that money.
Correct. That's right. I should have.
Recreational, John.
Okay. So is that an
Or
amendment?
wherever, but it's got to be named in the motion, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So we'll add that as an amendment to the motion. Tom, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So it will come out of open space and recreation.
I recommend that does come out of recreation for the amount of $1,400 in support of the pickleball courts.
Okay. So that
I'll
motion.
second the modified motion.
Okay, motion has been made, motion has been seconded, the amendment has been added to it. Okay, so we will go into roll call right now. So I'll start up at the screen, so it kind of moved around a little bit. All right, so Tony?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Francis?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. Okay, so it looks like we kind of got that out of the way this evening. So applicants, that's great. So we'll kind of move a little bit more expedited on the process. I will start drawing up a letter of recommendation that I create, and then you guys can add to it if you want, and I will send that to the town clerk for the clerk of the council, so she can take a look at that and then send that information to the council. So as you might have heard earlier, there's 3 applications that are ahead of it. So this probably won't be likely on the agenda of the next council meeting, but I'm expecting it fairly soon. But I don't want to overload the council. So I would imagine they're probably going to break up some of the applications. So you will be hearing from me, Dave.
Yeah, Jonathan, just a quick question. We've worked with the East Long Meadow Tennis Association, and I don't know if we have to put it on the application, but we want the funds to be made out to the East Long Meadow Tennis Association so that they can purchase the nets.
Okay, I will make note of that. So if the council, favorably looks upon it, then at that point, to make sure where it exactly is going, I will make.
Point of order, sorry, Jonathan. Is that indicated on their application?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I believe there is not a actual area in the application that indicates exactly where it goes to.
Could we ask them to attach a letter?
Sure.
Stating that and giving the exact address where it would be sent and everything.
Yes.
Point of order, please.
Yes, Tom.
Since the motion was put forth, and one of the points, maybe since it's going through recreation, we utilize the recreation department and their buying power with the tennis association.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be
because ultimately the tennis association no longer exists under their 501c3.
Yeah, so we can do that. We can have the rec department take in the money, assuming that it gets approved through the process through the next.
John, let's double check that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we can. talk offline about that, where it will exactly go.
Just FYI, the point of order here is the East Long Meadow Tennis Association, and David, you can correct me on this, but the 501c3 is now defunct. So there is no quote unquote East Long Meadow Tennis Association as a 501c3.
I mean, when I talked to Karen and Mike last week or the week before, they did say it was still active, but I can verify that with them.
Yeah, because that was a point that Donna had brought up to the Recreation Board. That's all.
Yeah, we don't care where it goes. I think the idea of having it purchased through the Recreation Department is a good one. We're probably going to get more weight there.
Great. So we will work on that. We'll get it through to the council in short order, and then if approved by the council, then we will we'll make sure we'll know exactly who the money is. So applicants, David, Matthew, Kathy, thank you very much for taking the time this evening. I will be in touch with you guys, and I expect this process to go fairly quickly. So.
Awesome.
Very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
So,
Okay, so next point of business, we will be looking at the East Long Meadow Bark Park Association application. This is the Phase 2 application for the walkway. For those of you in the audience, in the public, and on the committee, remember we had approved in October of last year the original Phase 1 application for the Bark Park for $4,600, and then this will be an extension to that sidewalk. So everyone should have gotten a paper copy. I know, Melanie, you sent application paper copy to the town hall, and everyone should have gotten also a digital copy of it. So with that, I will turn the attention to the applicant, Melanie. Oh, I think you're muted.
You would think after doing this for a year, I'd remember to unmute. Sorry about that.
I've done that plenty of times. Yeah.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for having me. Before I start my quick presentation, is Bill also on? I know he
just came in.
Okay, just want to make sure he's on as well. I'm on my phone, so it's a little difficult to see the setup as opposed to the computer.
If he has, Bill, though, if you have your video, could you put it on? Because otherwise, the people at home can't see you at all.
All right.
I don't know. Is he there?
Yes, he is there. We can see.
Okay, great. Bill, did you want me to start, or would you like to have a summary?
No, you go ahead, and I'll throw my 2 cents in.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I wanted to first start off by thanking you all for providing us with our award for the first phase application. Hopefully we'll get that project started soon now that spring is finally here. And so what we did is we submitted a second phase application. For those who are not familiar with the park, the East Long Meadow Bark Park Association is located at the Heritage Park. It's on the far left side, closer to like where Home Goods is and Big Y. It's a very popular dog park in the area. There's a few in the region, but not as many as you would hope. And so what it is a park that we provide free space for dog owners to come and allow their dogs to safely play off leash. The park is divided into 2 sections, one for a large dog park, and the other one is for smaller dogs. And so what the first phase application was for us to create a sidewalk inside the perimeter of the park. The park as of now is completely covered in mulch, which is safe for the dog's paws to be playing around, but it is a little bit of a difficult terrain for dog owners to walk around in. And so I'm not sure if any of you have been to the Agawam Dog Park, but that's an example that we have wanted to kind of exemplify, because what they have inside is a large sidewalk inside the perimeter of, I believe, both sides of the dog park. And it basically provides a healthy environment for the dog owner to loop around while the dogs are playing safely inside the perimeter. And so with the first phase application, it's going to fund the sidewalk on, if you ever go to the dog park, on the large dog park, which is the more popular visited one. It's on the far right side. So that's going to be like the first phase of it. And so the second phase, we'd like to close the gap in order for us to have a full circle. And so what our request is for the project, total cost is $8,500, but we're willing to put in $1,000 in. So the actual request to the CPA would be $7,500. And I'll welcome any questions. Bill, if you want to jump in, if I missed anything.
Well, just to give you another general idea of what the sidewalk, it's basically a sidewalk. It's 4 feet wide. And right now, the one that is approved, the phase one, goes from one entrance to another entrance, which is basically a length of about 150, 175 feet. And it's not meant to be an exercise path, but a lot of people will walk it, up and down. And right now, being a straight path, there will be people kind of opposing each other, going back and forth possibly. So what phase two will do, as Melanie said, it'll enclose the loop of the inside perimeter of the park, so people will have a one-way to go to have a walk around the inside perimeter of the dog park, just so there won't be any confusion or anything like that. And as far as maintenance go, we're just going to have a couple of push brooms there to keep it clean. And other than that, there shouldn't be any issues to deal with. Everything is pretty much in place. We've gotten the bids from contractors, and I actually spoke with the contractor that's going to be doing the work. Is the same one that's going to be doing phase one. So if it is approved, then I might talk with him and see if he can just come and do both at the same time, and rather than go back and forth. So close the park for a couple of days, and that would do it. So any other questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Yes, Francis.
I visited the park yesterday. Congratulations. People really like the benches and having that facility in town. I also spoke to some people who were there, and they are concerned that it's not, this is dog owners now speaking. They feel that the large dog part of it isn't even big enough. And if you're taking 8 feet away, with the sidewalks on each side, do you have any plans to expand?
Well, first of all, we're not taking anything away.
Well, I mean, to the dogs you are.
Well, not really. It's just like them crossing a street. It's Bill always goes right to the fence, the perimeter. It's still there. It's just that 4 feet of it is blacktop, but they still have access to it. They still run on it, and it's still there. And as far as the expansion of it goes, we had talked about that. The outline of the park right now is defined by 7 years ago when we talked to like the conservation committee and things like that. Everything's defined by how far it is from the wetland, how much they wanted to leave available space from the parking lot over on North Main Street to the dog park. Everything's defined by that. The only place that we could expand would be if you can picture going back towards where Staples was, in that direction. And we looked at that, and we kind of decided, and actually talking with other dog owners, was that we kind of like it being a little bit smaller because it's much more manageable. You can get to your dogs easier. Agawam is probably at least 3 times the size of ours, but they can't get to their dogs. If there's issues, their dog could be a quarter mile away. And so what I've heard is that they kind of like the idea of, number one, the registration process. Number two, that we have monitors there during busy times. And number three, they like the size of it because it's kept cleaner. We have the running water right there, and everything is accessible, and haven't had any issues with the size. But we had discussed that in the past and kind of decided against it, to be honest with you.
Lynn, did you have a question?
No, I didn't.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, Tony.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. I think everybody can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I met with Bruce Finney a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me a copy, says Heritage Park Final Concept. And I'm looking at the dog park, and it says relocated dog park. Do you have any plans on relocating this?
No.
Or what?
No,
Okay.
that actually came up, I think, briefly, and I think the last planning board committee or meeting that I attended, and I kind of questioned that myself, and I said, it's not like moving a piece of furniture or something like that. This is, it's a major deal, between the fence and the years and years of the ground that we built up and the underwater pipe for the water and everything like that. And then, so it basically came out that I know the long-term plan, the project involved a roadway or an access going up to the soccer field where I think we're intending to put a parking lot up there for the soccer field or something like that. But that was just going to be at the far side, at the end of the small dog area. It's kind of hard to picture. Was just going to kind of skin the outside of the dog park going up towards the soccer field, but it wasn't going to interfere. At one point, somebody said, well, it might take 10 feet off of that section of the park. And that was the last I heard of it, but I think that just got dropped. I don't think there's any other plans to make any changes to it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, I had heard that actually today. Mary, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you're listening, but I just, I obviously, supported the first project. I think this is a great asset to the community. My only hesitancy for this project, at least from my standpoint, would be I would hate to approve it and then in the plan it has to get moved or something. So I didn't know. I wanted to just, know if what the, I haven't seen the actual design yet, but.
Well, we do have major plans for that whole area, but they've not begun yet. There's no funding for them yet. So my preference would be maybe that you move a little slowly on this, but I'm not on your committee, so. But I don't know how much of the square footage of the whole area is involved with the expansion or the current park as it exists. So I don't have that stuff in front of me. And I don't have it at my fingertips. So I'd be relying on Bruce and the drawings that are now several years old. Let me just surmise or summarize by saying that the town has plans for that park. So.
Well, keep in mind that the phase one has already been approved and it will be done. So we're already looking at a couple hundred feet of blacktop as it's going to already approved. So
yeah, no doubt about that, Bill. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just my only thing. I mean, I know I haven't seen the plans as well. But considering it's more towards the edge of the park, not necessarily like in the middle or anything, it might be
right.
Might be an easy ability to kind of keep that enclosed, perhaps right there, and then develop around it. But we'll have to see. Tony, you were saying something, so.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how many people, I don't know if Mary has a copy of this final concept, but I can tell you right now, it shows a dog park. What's new about it is this new access walkway, and it's a road that's going to be used for the police so they can go in there and do their nightly inspections. And that follows the perimeter. And it comes right around, and it's right on the south edge of the dog park, and it comes out to where the parking lot is. And it comes out on, I believe, Dearborn. As a matter of fact, there's two ways of getting in there through Dearborn. And this access road just goes right around the whole park, which I think is a great idea. It goes as far as you can go toward the east, up above where the other proposed all-purpose field is going to be put, which I think is a great idea, having that access road and a walking path combination with the security lighting.
Yeah, I've heard
That's all
Really great.
Yeah.
Well, just one quick comment. And you're right. That's basically what I saw as well. Now, if by chance they decide to put that access road that's going to intrude into the dog park to any degree, the term I heard was around 10 feet or so. But even if it does, that is at the far end, as you said, to the south side of the dog park. And that is where the small dog area is, and that is not where the pathway is going to be. Pathway is going to be the large dog area, which is 200 feet north of that. So even if they cut into part of the park where they're talking about the access road, it's not going to have any effect on this project. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
So does anybody else have any questions principally on the project specifically itself?
I just like to mention one thing, and I don't know if I'm, a little too advanced on this, but what I'd like to see, part of this project, and the rest of you can think about it, I'd like to see this access road start before we even do anything else. The access road, and put in, I know Bruce said solar lighting along the whole perimeter, coming down between Big Y, right down to the parking lot area. I would like to see that illuminated before we even start any major project. And I don't know what anyone else thinks, how anybody else thinks about this, but I think it would let the people know that at least we're going to be making it secure for them.
I think that's a good point. Tom, I see your hand. You raised your hand.
Yes, I did. So there is a long-term project plan, and Mary, you can talk about the specific website that's out there for feedback. And I think it was started on February 12th, if I recollect correctly, Mary, where suggestions about long-term planning around East Long Meadow is. And I like the dog park. I think it's part of the heritage. It's part of open space and recreation. I think until we have a handle of what we're doing about Brown property, Heritage Park, and all these other things, we have to figure out before we start putting down additional pavement. So, Mary, if you have the website in front of you, because I don't have it in front of me.
I don't have the website, Tom, but you're referring to the master plan visioning session that was conducted.
Yes.
So we're in the town's in the process of updating its master plan, and the due date on that is June 30th of this year. And in the context of some of the community focus groups, there was a lot of conversation about the development of Heritage Park. So it's far from, it's at the infancy stages, and we have some drawings, we have some estimates, we don't have any funding in place yet. The plans are magnificent, but they're years in the making and millions of dollars. So my hesitancy is just, I hate to do things piecemeal for fear that you do something and then you have to undo it. But on the other hand, the other argument there is, well, this is a huge project, so it may be years before anything happens. And meanwhile, you're stuck without an improvement to your dog park. So I'm kind of torn. We will know more about this master plan and what our opportunities are. It's on the long-term comprehensive capital plan for the town that I recently submitted. But it is, like I said, it's in the millions of dollars, and it could be done in phases. It doesn't have to be the whole design that was originally discussed 3 or 4 years ago. There may be elements of it that can be eliminated to save money. And I don't have any definite information for you, but I'm just concerned that I don't want you to go forward thinking that this may never be interfered with. I just want to caution you on that. I hope it isn't interfered with, but I don't know yet, as I sit here, what the exact parameters of this potential big project would be. So just think it's fair to let you know that. That's
Is
all.
Bruce Feeney in the meeting?
No, he is not.
Okay.
So yeah, so I kind of feel that way as well. I'm supportive personally of the project as I was the first phase, but I would hate. My main concern was I just would hate to see it get approved and then hypothetically and then get dug up shortly thereafter or something, because I think it is as it's been said already a good addition to Heritage.
Jonathan,
Yes, Ralph.
with millions of dollars being spent way down the road, I can't see why $7,500 now that may be torn up in decades is an unnecessary expense. My feeling.
Well, Ralph, it's not just a road. It's a walking path, but it's going to be made where it's like one car width. And I think Bruce was saying you could use milling from roads that they mill before they repave again. Something that would be laid down. And I don't see, I don't think there's no reason why we couldn't start something like that in, say, phase one, where we do lay out the road. And that's mainly for security. All right. And a couple of cameras up here in the north end of the park. And right now, as I'm looking at it, this walkway combination roadway does not interfere with the present dog park. Because you got to remember, half this property, what we're looking at, 50% is wetland. You got it on the north side, and you got it on the south side.
What does that have to do with the walk in the Bark Park?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking, so I see Francis's hand. I want to get back to just the walkway right now while we have the applicants in front of us. Francis, you had your hand raised first. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I'd like to get back to the topic at hand because we have to, give some kind of decision for these folks. It's $7,500. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would complete the whole periphery of the large dog park.
Yes, in conjunction with the phase one, correct.
Yeah, so that would be what's before us right now. And we should decide, it's fine. We can ask any questions we want of them, but we shouldn't get off topic. I'm willing to consider a possible motion or to say we wait till our next meeting. But I think we should stick on that topic.
Yeah, I agree. We should stick on that.
I think we should wait till the next meeting.
Okay. Tom, I saw your hand raised right after Francis's.
I'm going to make a different motion that we move any process on this project until at least after the master plan has been submitted on June 30th of this year.
So moved.
Okay.
For a second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this? So just to be clear, so we would not return to this until after that June 30th date, even though I'm just making that clear.
That is clear.
Okay. All right. Is there, Francis, I see your hand raised.
Oh, no, it just doesn't go down. Sorry. Let's see there.
Okay.
You have to physically put it down. I just realized that. Okay.
Okay. All right. We have a motion that has been made, that has been seconded. Any discussion or thoughts from the committee? Anybody, here right now? Okay. So we will move to this motion. I will start roll call. Tony.
Yes.
Ralph.
No.
Francis.
Yes.
Okay. You said yes?
Yes.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I am a no on that. So that was by a, let's see, 5-2 vote. As chair, I always like to, where the pleasure of the board sits. And, ultimately you guys are we're all collectively, we need to make decisions as a collective body. So that decision has been made. So we will revisit this then once that master plan is through the works. As someone who will be approving or disapproving that master plan, I expect that process to be fairly soon, it may not even go right until June 30th. That decision, master plan, might be made prior to that point. Mary, if I'm not mistaken, I believe only the planning board is the body that approves the master plan, right?
You got me there, John. It may not even be have to wait that long, though, to your earlier point, because the whole project is going to be before the town council on the comprehensive capital plan, which should be considered even before the master plan is completed. I was referencing the master plan because Tom was, trying to identify the committee that started their hearings back in February, and that's what that was. So, if we get some direction from the town council or from the planning board in advance of June 30th, you can certainly bring it back, obviously, at your discretion earlier than that.
Yeah, so it seems like I think there's probably just a question around what the master plan will exactly look like. And as someone who has been involved in that process to some degree, I don't expect. I would say to the applicants, to Melanie and Bill, I don't expect it will be until July. I think it'll be earlier than that.
Oh, yeah.
The process, so I would expect it could be next month, could be in June, but I expect that to be a fairly quick process. So once we get direction, making sure that we get to see what's in the master plan exactly, we'll move forward fairly quickly then. So I expect.
So just a quick comment. I just want to see if I'm interpreting this right. Is that in general everybody thinks the idea of it is okay, but it's all based on what the master plan and whether that's going to interfere with it or not. But if it doesn't, then it sounds okay. Does anybody have any questions about the usability of it or any other thing that wouldn't hesitate to answer any questions? Okay, thanks.
Hearing anybody, or Tony, are you saying something?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Jonathan, it's Brian. If I could
Brian.
just to clarify the question, I think it's a good idea. I think it has merits. I think we should do it. But I would like to see what's included in the master plan, and if there's going to be any changes to location of items within the park before we move on this any further. But to the park people, yes, I think it's a great idea to put the walkway in, and you have my support.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So once we get this master plan looked at and hopefully approved, or once I haven't had the opportunity. I just got it 2 days ago, so that'll be something that I'll be looking at this weekend and in the next coming days. To Melanie, to Bill, expect to hear from me soon. I expect this to be a lot quicker of a process than we had last year because COVID really threw us off last year. So this will certainly, my hope is not be, again, it will, when you hear the June 30th, I would take that with a lot of caution because I'm not sure that that'll be the point to which we'll have to wait. That it probably will likely be earlier than that. So I will keep both of you up to date. Francis.
I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt, but there's a question I forgot to ask. Will the pavement be under the benches?
No, we weren't planning on that. The benches are going to be pulled out far enough so it'll be the benches will be in the on the chips. We don't want to interfere with the asphalt, with the walkway itself, where people have to go around it, because it's only 4 feet wide. And the bench would basically occupy the whole width of it.
So there'll be 4 feet on one side and 4 feet on the other. In other words, 4 feet perimeter all the way around.
Well, it goes. It's basically a modified circle, if you want to think of it that way. It's a loop.
So that's 4 feet, and then the benches take what, a foot or two? I mean,
well,
so we're limiting the space for the dogs because they don't run. Their owners don't like them to run on asphalt. You know, that's my question.
They would. If you've seen the, I'm not sure if you've ever visited other parks similar that have, most dog parks you ever visit have a sidewalk perimeter, including the Agawam ones, and dogs freely walk between terrains, both the turf or mulch with a sidewalk. There's absolutely no interruption to the dog space whatsoever.
They're about the same width?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't have any change of the area for dog use at all.
Okay.
Zero.
If that's enough space, okay.
Okay. So if there are no other questions to the applicants, applicants will be probably back here fairly soon on the topic once this master plan is kind of dealt with and decided. So thank you very much, both of you, for coming and presenting. We greatly appreciate it. And I know I look forward to getting back on this application.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, so we are heading down the end of the agenda here. So the next topic is, I'm sorry, here, the CPC plan. So we, as a committee, have to put together a CPC plan. Through the process of just talking to people that have been involved in the process in the past, there was a plan. It wasn't approved. This was a number of years ago. And then I stumbled upon something from 2017 that should have been sent out to all of you. This is a fairly it's about 1 page. It's a small plan. I have been trying to look into what other communities do for their plans. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I don't know if this is just my computer, but I haven't been able to access those plans on the Community Preservation's website there. On the Coalition's website, you can look, and they have 5 or 6 different plans from what I've been told, but unfortunately I can't. So I'll have to find another way to take a look at kind of sample plans. So my hope is, along with this topic and then discussing kind of the agenda for the next meeting, from what all of you should remember, we approved a kind of a draft for a calendar. We generally meet on needs basis, but I put in different dates for every month just in case we needed to meet for that month. But one of those dates was 2 weeks from now, which would be April 20. That would be April 22nd. Correct? If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But April 22nd, which would be 2 weeks from now, it's a Thursday. Every year we should have a public hearing. Technically, each of these meetings are open to the public. And if somebody is raising their hand at the attendees list, I will call upon them. And that's what happened with some of our applicants tonight, getting them in. So my hope was, I don't know what the board thinks about it, but come back in 2 weeks, sort of just to open it up to the public. I was going to let, certain different applicants in the past, people that are kind of passionate around issues when it comes to rec, historical, or affordable housing, to discuss what we might want in a CPC plan. We have this one from 2017. That was approved by the committee at that point in time. It's a fairly small document, whether we want to add to it. So, the way I would see it is, are there priorities? So would we want to prioritize areas of the community that we would be more likely to, invest in? We only had 2 applications for this April 1st funding cycle. my hope would be, now that we have really caught the committee up administratively, my next focus is looking more long-term, that being trying to get kind of CPC advertised and more out there. So if there are people, particularly from historical or from housing and development, that have applications, because anybody can submit an application as long as it kind of fits into those general descriptions that the CPC lays out. So my hope would be, in that event, we get numerous applications, and then we can sort of rank them, we can prioritize them, and we can see which ones we really value, and which ones maybe that we may not value as much, but ranking them. I have been told that's what other CPCs do. There's some CPCs that receive over a dozen applications in one funding cycle. We generally have gotten, I've only seen 2 or 3 tops for the last few cycles that I've been on, and I've been on as chair. So I don't know what you all thought. I don't know if you all should have gotten that little document as part of the minutes. What anybody thought about perhaps meeting in 2 weeks, how they would feel about that, having a public hearing. Hearing nothing from the board, I'm not sure. Hopefully, I'm not frozen. So would you all?
Maybe everybody left.
No. Well, everyone. It looks like everyone's still on. Right. I can still see some faces.
Okay.
Oh, Francis, raise your hand.
Yeah, I could say that I think the success of inviting the public in to, if you wish, brainstorm or ask questions or share with us, would be on how we publicize it. And it's really important that public understand what the purpose of this committee is, and those who maybe don't even really know they could apply might get interested and say, well, gee, I have something, or our group has something that we maybe could ask for help. Let's go on the meeting and find out. So how would you publicize that, or how would we publicize that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know that, we could add, have, the reminder potentially do something. We can advertise it in kind of traditional media. I've already started reaching out to people that kind of know about CPC already to, offer their thoughts. I mean, it's important. That's important, because I would hate to have this meeting and then, either have nobody or one person show up. So, we could also do this public hearing later, maybe in the spring before the summer comes. It does not have to be in 2 weeks. I sort of just did April as an arbitrary date, but we're not necessarily married to that date. So it could be certainly later. Also, because, the pickleball application was approved, and then we're kind of going to be waiting to revisit the Bark Park, the second phase there. We don't, going into May, we don't really have all that much on the agenda. I mean, I'm going to reach out to Stuart to see if he can maybe do a bonding presentation, and then I will be working with the town council on these applications that will be going before them, probably in fair short order. So we have some open kind of time for the next 2 meetings or so. So we could kind of push this off, or we could just make sort of publicize a public hearing specifically about a plan and sort of what CPC is about at our May or June meetings that will likely already be happening.
Well, Jonathan.
Yes, Tony?
I was just thinking, maybe we can hold this off until everything starts to open up, or we go back to normal from this COVID-19. I'm hoping sometime in August maybe, or September, which we can have an open meeting. And I think that would attract a lot more people. Maybe have it at the senior center. I'm hoping that we'll more or less be back to normal by then. What does everyone think about that?
I know Tom just shared something in the chat. I suggest both dates in May and April to bring forward public knowledge. So, maybe we can have, we can have a discussion, maybe more so with the public in September or August, hopefully when things open up, and then perhaps, in May as well. Mary, I hate to put you on the spot again, but I don't know, do you have an idea of like maybe when we would be going back to in-person public meetings? Have you gotten any information in regards to that? Or
I think about it every day, but I thought I'd be making a decision on May 1st, but now I think I won't be making a decision that day. East Long Meadow's back in the red zone, high positivity rate as of today. Granted, it's only a 2-week period, but if the trend continues in that way, it'll be the summer before we open. And I know everybody's anxious, as am I, to get back to in-person meetings and have a normal life, so to speak. But right now it's not in the cards, at least for another probably 60 days at a minimum.
yeah, there might be more conducive.
Yes.
You're muted, John. Yeah.
I accidentally was, I had a noise outside, but it might be maybe perhaps if from what I'm kind of understanding from the board, it might be more conducive or more effective to kind of hold it off from, instead of having it 2 weeks from now, to have it either closer into May or perhaps when we come back in the summer. So unless anybody has a burning desire to meet in 2 weeks, we can hold it off for next month, have a little discussion then, and maybe have a more official public hearing again once hopefully things open back up. Ideally.
For my 2 cents, if you let me throw it in the pot, I think your public hearing would be more beneficial if you have your draft plan available for the public to review and then opine about. I mean, it's your committee's plan. I know there's been a few town councilors who have said to me that they feel it's important that that plan get done because all the spending lately has been tilted out of the open space and recreation, which is all well and good, but the plan should sort of address goals as to how to meet the other funds, projects that are within the contemplation of the committee. You know, we haven't done much with historical, I mean, a little bit, but not a lot. So that would just be my thought, that if you could put a plan together, even in draft form, and then have the public weigh in on what they thought of the plan, it might help the committee more.
Yeah, I agree. That might be a... yeah.
So, yeah, John, you know, one of the things I highly recommend is there's so much fact versus fiction in regards to what is CPC funding, what is not CPC funding, what can and cannot be done. I think until we have great presentation. It was great having Stuart present to us, but the more we can pass that knowledge around the community and what projects can be considered CPC, be very beneficial for the community itself.
Yeah, I agree. I think that presentation was really eye-opening, at least to me, and I think to a number of you, at understanding the different, what CPC is about, what can be done, what can't be done. Yes, Francis.
Yeah, how about if you or other members in collaboration put together a proposed article to put out there to the public about CPC and what we're up to, what we're doing, and that we're planning in the near future to have a public meeting, some kind of an article for the reminder, and put it out there. And then you can bring it to our next meeting for us to look over. You can send it to us electronically, so we might add our comments, or so we develop something that we can present to the public. I agree with Mary. Even if it's an outline, we don't have to go into big detail. But we have to drum up interest and get people to understand that there is funding for affordable housing. Yeah. And that's something I've seen some affordable housing in town that honestly was embarrassed that it was in East Long Meadow. So I think we've got to open that up for people to understand.
And the taxpayers it's their money. You pay an extra percent, and the balances in the accounts for CPC are substantial. So the time is ripe to get the information out there. And I know all of you are pressed for time. I'm not suggesting that anybody can just sit around tomorrow and draw up the plan, but a concerted effort now that, hopefully the worst of COVID is behind us and there's a little bit more freedom to interact. And I'm happy to help John, and I'm sure Allison will as well, and do whatever I can to help you move this forward.
Yeah, that would be great. Maybe, I'll talk to Allison, and we can collaborate on putting together like a draft. That would be great. I think maybe having a draft kind of article, something that can be informational, that can go out into the public, and then we can get kind of a very rough draft, a proposal of kind of a CPC plan that we want to see.
For example, John, we, from a recreation standpoint, we send out the recreation programming guide. That is seen by thousands of families in our town. That's a great place to even one point of why we come together as a collaborative, whether it's, our open space and rec, senior housing, affordable housing, historical. That's what this board's comprised of. And there's very few people who know that. And they just, I'm speaking off the cuff here, but utilize CPC as just a piggy bank and throw X number of dollars at it. If we had just a presence and a collaboration, it'd be so much better. I mean, I don't know. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, Tom, I absolutely agree with you. What I really value and what I hope that I'll maybe, get from a number of you, also maybe with other members of the community that kind of know about CPC already, and perhaps comments or advice on what you all would want to maybe see in a CPC plan. Tom, Lynn, Ralph, you all, the three of you represent kind of the funding areas of CPC, that being recreation, housing, as well as historical. So you guys are very kind of involved in much more than all of us, the processes of kind of what's going on in town and what, will be coming up in the future, what maybe we should be keeping our eyes on.
Don't forget conservation, because we do have some long-range ideas about open space.
Yes, yeah.
And it involve funding, I can tell you.
Yes, no, yeah. We all kind of are, kind of have our, passion area, and yes, conversation and planning also goes into kind of all three a little bit. So yes, but yeah.
But I think the town, in this document you create, in the plan or in something for the media, you have to let the town know that we have this vision of the future that involves CPC, and involves open space, involves recreation, involves housing, and really make people understand that there's a place for them in this use of funds.
So if I could make a comment to that, that is why it's so important to have that master plan, to have a presence of what we're going to do, or else we're going to die a death of 1,000 paper cuts.
Yep.
Yeah, the master plan is important. I know I have to give credit to Bethany and the planning department, a number of people that have been really spearheading it, that got us kind of to this point. So I'm looking forward to looking at that, because the most interesting fact about the master plan, I'll be quick, but was that the last master plan that was approved in this town was 1976. And I was 100% not here. I wasn't even thought of at that point. Some of us probably in the audience here on this committee may not have even been born yet either. So that was a really long time ago. I have no recollection of that. So it is a lot has changed since 1976, and now we're in 2021. So there is going to be we're going kind of into a new era, not just a new decade, but also kind of a new world after this kind of COVID experience that we've all been going through collectively. So okay, so what we'll do is I will.
15 minutes can save you 15% auto or car insurance. Welcome back. We've got to take next.
Jonathan, we can't hear you anymore.
South America.
Jonathan, we can't hear you.
On the continent.
He froze, I think.
Am I back?
His lips are moving.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I apologize. That happens. Usually it happens earlier in the meeting, but it happened now. So I will, if for those that didn't hear me, I will look at drafting up an article that could go out into the public about CPC, and then a draft CPC plan. I, will very much welcome any comments. My phone is always open. My email's always open. And to those that are listening as well, we would love to have input on a future CPC plan that will hopefully better guide where we want to see the funds go. One other quick thing that I just want to say is the other thing that I really want to have in this plan kind of spearhead. There is other communities have done this that I've heard from, and I've talked to past members about this. The idea of we can use affordable housing funds to do things like roof replacements to people who might qualify in the public. I think that could be a program that could be developed. I don't know a lot of the specifics, but the idea of better utilizing those housing funds, which really haven't been, at least the time that I've been on this board, would be extremely helpful. And it could really impact and benefit members of the community that are in certain housing conditions. And if this committee can help, this is part of that CPC plan, community preservation, preserving the committee. And that's what these three areas really have to do. So that's something I'll be wanting to maybe try and push, and I've been looking at as well. So with that, so what we will do is then I see that maybe we'll have a discussion more on this subject in May, and then maybe have more of a formal public hearing once we have a draft up and ready, and then we can kind of invite the public to that, and they can see the draft for themselves and have input into that draft. So that means that we will, unless anybody again has a burning desire to meet in 2 weeks, we will meet again on. Let me just pull out my calendar here. May the 6th. So that's going to be 4 weeks from now, the first Thursday of May. So my plan is to update the committee on the applications that are before us now. One thing I forgot to mention, I will also update the committee on where this, I know we had passed a kind of a withdrawal resolution. There's some question of whether the money was even taken out to begin with. So I'm going to look into that further till the next meeting, and then and I'm going to start putting together these drafts. So ideally have those for the next meeting. And then I will also make sure that the renewal of the membership gets to the CPA nonprofit. And we already know that this is a 1-year renewal. So that was helpful information to know. So that's pretty much it. We'll come back a month from now, May 6th. So with that, is there any other business that any member wants to bring up?
The best materials and warranty guaranteed.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion to adjourn, please.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All right, so I will go on roll call here on the screen. So Ralph,
Aye.
Francis,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, and I am a yes as well. I want to thank LCAT. They've been a big help, not just to this meeting, but our previous meetings, recording these and then putting these online so that people, the public, can see them as well. And I also want to thank Mary very much for kind of being a big help with just kind of technical questions and whatnot in her attendance this evening as well, and to the applicants that presented to us. So thank you all very much.
Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.